We go to the next talk by Ivan Visconti from University of Salerno. Ivan is also a member of crypto community for many, many years. He has done a lot of research, mostly very theoretical one, but also research with practical impact. And the title of his talk is The Gaze of the Gorgon, a Trojan Horse, or an Offer We Could Not Refuse. I don't know what he means by we. We had no chance, but maybe you get it in his talk. Ivan, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect.
So, from the prison. Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me for this event, for organizing this event. It is very interesting. Yeah, let's try to see if it works, my presentation. Okay. So fortunately, you already know about digital contact tracing. It was already discussed a little bit by Ahmad and then by Serge. The entire idea is that when user A is nearby users B and C, and even though they don't know each other, since they are very close to each other, in case A will be later on discovered infected, there should be a way to notify this risk for B to B and C, while D and E that are instead far should not get this notification. So this is what happens at some point. A gets a call from the health authority, and he discovers it is infected. He will upload data, and magically C and B, even though A doesn't know the name of of C and B will get the notification. Okay, so they will stay home, and the day after, therefore, they will not spread the virus. So this is very nice, I mean, in theory. Okay, in theory, this could help to fight the pandemic and to reduce the spread of the virus. This is, there were high expectations in February, March, April about the use of these systems. So now we are in, today's December 1st. During my talk, I'll try to say something about the Italian case that I know better because I'm Italian and I'm working in Italy. And yeah, just a few days ago, November 26th, you can see that the coronavirus emergency commissioner Domenico Arcuri, so a person nominated by the Italian government, basically in a speech answering the question, he said that the Italian app didn't produce the expected results. Okay, so here basically, according to the style of Italian politicians, such a sentence is basically the worst possible one can say, because nobody ever admits any failure, right? So this is basically admitting the failure of the app Immuni, that is the name of the Italian app, in helping the manual contact tracing to reduce the spread of the virus. There is a link to the entire video, so you can listen the words in Italian from the emergency commissioner. So let's see why in Italy we have this situation where the government had to admit a failure. So first of all, if we don't consider just theory that was discussed in my initial slides, but we try to understand in practice how this can work, there are many problems, and you already following Serge's presentation understand that there are many problems to detect the distance. Okay, so moreover, even if you can detect the distance, it doesn't really correspond to effective risk because there are other factors like wearing properly a good mask. And there are many other reasons. There are asymptomatic positives that maybe they will never do a test, so they will never, even though they are infecting people, others will not know. There are people that don't have a smartphone that is powerful enough to run such applications. And many other reasons. You want to save on the battery. Also, you need there is an impact on the health system, national health system, in order to have new procedures that are compatible with these new systems, the digital contact tracing. And all this without even mentioning that there might be individuals interested in explicitly damaging the system, either spying or polluting data. So there were all these problems, and moreover, there is a clear need of privacy, because If there is no privacy, many people maybe will not trust the system, will not use it, and it will fail. So essentially, this system should somehow be privacy preserving. And there was already a big problem. It was clear in March and April that no government could ever have a privacy preserving app without the help of Google and Apple, because using Bluetooth Low Energy in order to detect distance requires the app to have some power on the smartphone that usually regular apps don't have, in the sense that the operating systems Android and iOS don't allow apps full control of Bluetooth Low Energy. Okay, so there was a need of having rotating identifiers to have privacy, and everything should work in the background. So some features that were not for free for apps, and some help was needed. So kind of there was a pressure on Apple and Google to do something, to be responsible, helping the system. And we got on April 10 this nice message online where Apple and Google actually admitted that they were interested in helping together. And you can see that the goal was to help with a system with privacy and security. Okay, it's central to their design to provide privacy and security. This is what they announced. There was, after a few days, on April 19, a letter of 300 experts that, following this announcement of Google and Apple, were explicitly saying very good that they want to do something that is privacy preserving, because they were saying teams building the privacy protecting schemes would like to use such features. And it's very important to avoid that private data are collected by adversaries. In particular, there were four claims that should be used only, these systems should be used only for public health, should be used not imposed to citizens, so citizens should be free of deciding, and there should be a transparent design. But also very important, look at this sentence number 3. Okay, it's not precisely written in the letter. It's a much bigger sentence that I compressed like this. But there is a link in the bottom of this slide, so you can read everything in full, where they say the infrastructure should allow a country to implement the most privacy-preserving solution for the desired functionality. Okay, so if a country has a new, better privacy-preserving solution, Apple and Google should allow the implementation of this solution. Unfortunately, what happened was that Apple and Google didn't provide an API allowing countries to develop privacy-preserving apps. They provide their own system called GAIN. That was a system not completely new. The system has many similarities with a system called DP3T, developed by the DP3T team that was already known, and already was known on April 19 that there were some privacy and integrity vulnerabilities. In particular, Serge posted a paper on ePrint showing a list of attacks. Well, so what else can I say here is that clearly this answer of Google and Apple of providing their own system that cannot be changed, okay, that doesn't go in the direction of implementing the most privacy-preserving solution for the desired functionality. So it's kind of something that is in contrast with the letter of the 300 experts. Okay, so in addition to the all previous problems that I mentioned already, that were independent of Google and Apple, those problems, right? The detecting distance, it's not a problem of Google Apple, it's a generic problem for everybody. In addition, now we have more problems because people might not trust Apple and Google. Why should they use the system that they decided without negotiating with countries? And excluding other claims without having proper documentation saying why their system is better than others for privacy and security. It's not clear at all. Moreover, people might not trust others, in which sense? That there can be attackers, people interested in spying, not just the government, also third parties. And the system Google and Apple is weak from this point of view. Moreover, people might be afraid of receiving a notification when this is it's not a natural, genuine notification, but is the result of an attack. There are these replay attacks very well known, plus terrorist attacks. There are ways for an adversary to inject notifications to people to target without these people ever being close to an infected person. So people don't like this, of course. And there are risks also for governments, not only for people, because governments might invest money doing something that is useless, and not just useless, even dangerous, because when an attacker can manage to send thousands of fake notifications, these people that get the notification might then ask to have a test. This will basically be an overhead for the health system, can damage others. Okay, so summing up, we have privacy issues, integrity issues, effectiveness issues, because it's not even clear you can measure the distance and how much help you get in getting good notifications of at-risk exposures. Transparency issues, because the code is not open source. And when we have usually more interesting properties that one would like to get, we say that we try to get the best of both worlds. But for the case of gain, it doesn't look like that. Actually, it looks the opposite. It looks like you are trying to get the worst of all possible properties. Okay, let's now get closer to the title of my talk, The Gaze of the Gorgon. So that is from the previous slides and from the previous talks, it is, at least for me, pretty evident that there is an issue with countries not being able to use the best possible system according to their national situation, okay? Because they can use only one system, the one proposed by Google and Apple, or otherwise there are severe technological problems. Some countries had to give up, like the UK, they were trying to use their own solution, but because of this technological problem with the operating systems, they had to give up. Others keep trying doing it, but they are doing it with these technological problems that have an impact, a negative impact on the effectiveness of what they are doing. But maybe this is not so clear that there is an issue here, that a country should be able to have its own infrastructure, to run its own applications and to protect data with its own citizens. Indeed, if you go back to May, in mid-May, it was possible on Twitter to see this tweet from Dr. Francesca Bria. So she was a member of the Group 6 Technologies to Govern the Emergency of the Italian Task Force for COVID Emergency. Okay, so it's a task force nominated by the Italian government to take actions. This Group 6 in particular was working on the digital contact tracing procedure. And you can see in English what the Google translation of her tweet, that is that basically is claiming that Apple and Google framework, it's based on the Made in Europe DP3T protocol. And it's the result of the leading European experts in privacy preserving and decentralization technologies. It's a victory for the protection of citizens' digital sovereignty. Okay, so it's precisely the opposite of what I think today everyone thinks, and already many people had this in mind. So basically, using the infrastructure of Apple and Google, it's a victory for the digital sovereignty. Very interesting, and I didn't know any member of that group at the time. And reading the list of the group members, number 2 is it's Ciro Catuto, and you can see that Ciro Catuto is one of the team members of DP3T. There was also still in June this nice discussion where Boris Johnson was claiming that it's not so easy to have an app because there are a functional app because there are many problems. So they need the time to produce a functional app. So in particular, UK spent a lot of time trying to have its own solution without gain. And there was another politician, Starmer, saying, well, there is a case, there is Germany, it works there, it's functioning. And all the newspapers saying, great, Germans were, many Germans were proud of showing that they can have an app while UK cannot. This was on June 24th, and the Corona one was released only on June 16th. So very interesting, because in Italy there was this app still based on gain that was released on June 2nd. So why nobody was mentioning the Italian app that had, you know, more weeks of work to show the success, right? Why do you mention an app released only 8 days ago? It is clearly not enough to see what is doing this app. It's in only 8 days. And I can tell you, because the number of downloads, clearly in Italy there was a low number of downloads, while in Italy there was a high number. In Germany there was initially a promising high number of downloads. And if you look at the documentation of the Italian app Immuni, it's written that the number of downloads is a largely meaningless metric. Okay, so as you can see, people were claiming everything is, I mean, some people were claiming everything works, let's continue, there is evidence, but there was no evidence at all. There was this another DP30 member, Salate, saying that on BBC.com, saying that there are many countries already that have functioning apps. Okay, now functioning, what does it mean? I can write an app that does nothing. Is it functioning or not? Doing nothing, right? So these messages were basically endorsing the gain system. We're saying it actually works. Let's try it. The more people will use it, the better results we have. Everything is good. And that can be the gaze of the Gorgon. Perhaps task force members of governments, politicians, policymakers, cybersecurity enthusiasts, experts of everything were first petrified by the keys, keep it simple, stupid approach of the DP30 system. That's the way they present their system. They call it KISS approach because it's very simple. And then also were petrified by this endorsement because the DP30 team were basically defending the game system everywhere. It's at least for me, it was very difficult to ever find somebody from Google and Apple defending gain, while it was all the time easy to find on social networks, on Twitter and other systems, DP30 team members defending the system of Google and Apple. Well, let's see other options. So let's be honest, there was a pandemic, people were dying, right? So there was also really a need to produce something very, very quickly, right? So produce and having a KISS design, so simple, it's actually natural, right? So even the Italian minister said that we did it in 70 days, not even God could develop such an app. So it's clear that if you want to be very fast, you cannot be perfect, right? This is to be honest. But then, look, from May to November, we had 6 months. Okay, what am I doing with my slides? We had 6 months. So that was a lot of time. Did we get any fixed mitigation to the paparazzi, the privacy attack? No. Did we get any fixed mitigation against large-scale replay attacks? No. Did gain change offering also other possibilities to have different systems? No. Did we find more vulnerabilities? Yes, the time travel attack discussed by Serge. There is a little time attack also. There is a voter suppression will be discussed later, and so on. So wait a second. Okay, I have some. I'm not also okay. Good. So more attacks. Like for instance, in April or May, Serge Bottenet discussed already the possibility of a black market of codes, so that basically an infected person could upload the codes of an attacker, just trying to monetize the system. So you already said, look, there is this risk, And with Gennaro Avitabile and Daniele Friolo that work in my group, we actually have shown in September that the risk, it's not just a risk, it is real in the sense that you can develop smart contracts so that there is a completely anonymous market of these trades where basically infected users can monetize their status without even being in touch or knowing. So completely anonymously, they can get money uploading the codes of someone else, and this someone else is probably somebody attacking some targets. So this is also very natural because once you try to digitalize something, and in this case, we are digitalizing the health of people with this contact tracing, and the fact that a person is infected is digitalized now. You have to take care of this possibility. People will start a black market on Ethereum because that's a possibility, right? This is what smart contracts do, allow to deal with this digital information. No countermeasure at that time, no countermeasure after 6 months.
Excuse me, 5 minutes left.
Thank you very much. Again, still from May to November. So what happened? Google and Apple motivated the design of a gun, trying to say, well, our main goal was to avoid that a malicious government, even though democratically elected, might be interested in abusing the social graph. We had this priority in mind, and that's what we try to do. Okay, so that's very much in contrast with the original goal of preserving privacy and security. Now it's basically we do everything possible to protect the social graph, and because governments are bad, and that's it. And the rest it's not that important. Moreover, they refused to consider, so their basic defense was to attack the centralized systems, but they never said in some very reasonable way, why not to implement other systems that are decentralized and are privacy preserving and don't expose the social graph. They try to say, oh, those solutions, are expensive to match data are too large to download. But for instance, there is, as an example, in Italy now, data traffic for online classes for students is free. So even for contact tracing, a government can make it free. So these are political decisions that are, should be taken by government, not by Google and Apple. I'm almost concluding, no worries. So perhaps not everyone fully trusts Google and Apple, right? And one might even consider the possibility that behind or inside game, there is a surprise. There was a nice, fantastic talk of Seni Kamara, invited talk at Crypto 2020, and he said, companies don't view the users necessarily as people. They view them as an opportunity to make money. There was a tweet recently by Kevin McCarthy that saying that the trust in Google is a problem, and he worked for almost 13 years in Google. Right, so I'm now to the very last 2-3 slides. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. It's a sentence very popular because of the book and movies about the Godfather. There are other schemes, other proposals from many groups in Europe. Some of the designers are speakers today, but I don't want even to talk about the speakers today because I don't want to help them. I can mention another work, right, that came later in July. In July, there is a work of Turing Award, Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir, and many other prestigious researchers that proposed the scheme, and you can see what they write. They write their first scheme that has similarities with the P3T. They say there is some privacy for diagnosed users. And then they have another scheme based on techniques similar to the other schemes proposed already in April by others in Europe, where they say, oh, achieves this privacy and integrity guarantees using only standardized public key cryptography and stronger privacy. You can see it, right? So they have, since July, something bad in the US, right? Just because I don't want to please Ahmad or others that are here. Let's talk about someone that is not here today. They have a great scheme, fantastic. Did Google implement and Apple anything since then? No. And right, we should have, the letter was saying we want the best privacy, but no, it's not implemented. So what are doing these 300 experts that signed a letter? Are now they too busy to speak up and say it's wrong what is happening? Are not interested anymore in contact tracing? They got busy doing something else. And maybe they were never interested, but they were just asked to sign. They were gently signed. Or they got an offer they could not refuse. Maybe they've been asked to develop a system, GAIN system for a country, and now GAIN is good. Now privacy is not so important anymore in Italy anymore. I don't know. Maybe I'm just raising some possible options. I don't know which one is true and which one is not. I'm now at almost the end. Okay, failure in Italy, 9 months, nothing changed. We are really far for being ready for the next pandemic, and we cannot even experiment other systems because if you develop an app and implement it, you can't use BLE the way you would like, well, hopefully we know now that things should not continue in this way, and we should reconsider these technology monopolies. Thanks a lot.
So thank you, Ivan.
Yeah.
Is there any question? We have a short time for questions. So if there is no question, Lisa, any question you see? I don't see anyone in chat.
Yes, I see one. Emiliano de Cristofaro. Have you thought of writing another letter? Sorry, no microphone.
Okay, Emiliano, do you want to speak up?
Yes, no microphone.
This is the UK technology, yeah? What is with you? Okay.
No,
so,
okay. I didn't consider to write another letter because I don't think I will get many signatures, but I consider to write a position paper with some colleagues that you will know about it very soon.